Hi, Rohini. Hi,
Hi,
Natwar.
Rohini.
Hi, Lakshi.
Hi, Neeti.
Hi, can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Yes. We just give it a minute and then we should start. Okay, I guess we'd hopefully people are joining in and they will continue to join in. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in. Before we get into the agenda of the session today, I want to wish everyone happy Women's Day. Quick introductions. My name is Lakshi. I am part of the human capital team at Fractal Analytics. At Fractal, I drive the diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda, and I'm also part of the organization development team. I also have my colleague here with me, Neeti Dioris, who drives organizational development initiatives and is also part of the human capital team at Fractal Analytics. We will get into our key speakers of the day today, but before that, very quickly, I wanted to discuss the agenda of the session. As you may know, Fractal is committed to diversity, equity, inclusion, and equal opportunity. And as a further step in this direction, we are launching ReBoot, Fractal's first ever return to workforce program. This is a unique program because we believe in equal opportunity, and we also recognize that career break is not limited to women. So anyone who has extended probably the maternity break, taken break for self-care, taken break to travel, or for taking care of their loved one can apply to this program. We will get into the details of the program shortly in this session, but I'd also like to invite my colleague Neeti to very quickly introduce our key speakers of the day.
Thank you, Lakshi, and thank you for setting the context for today's session so beautifully. Before we start with our presentation, I'd like to introduce the speakers that we have with us today. First, we have Natwar Mall. Natwar is the Chief Technology Officer at Fractal. He is also the founder of Crux Intelligence and currently serves on the board of Analytics Vidya. He's also been instrumental in setting up the CPG practice at Fractal. And he's also founded Fractal's data sciences lab called Fractal Sciences. Natwar is also extremely passionate about helping global teams in global clients in their AI transformation and building high performance teams. At the workplace, he is deeply committed towards diversity, equity, and inclusion, and hence is the perfect champion for Fractal's first ReBoot program. Hi, Natwar, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Neeti.
Our second speaker is Rohini Singh. Rohini is the Chief People Officer at Fractal. She has over 17 years of multifunctional experience across a range of industries, including aviation, manufacturing, retail, and consulting services. Rohini had joined Fractal with the objective of developing the global talent acquisition capability at Fractal and leading certain special initiatives. She has been instrumental in setting up our well-being function and has also helped us shape our charter on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Hi, Rohini, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, Neeti. Thank you. Very excited to be here today.
So before we start with our presentation, just a note for our audience who's joined. Thank you so much for making the time and joining us for this webinar. In case you have any questions during the course of the presentation, please feel free to share them with us in the chat window. We have about 15-20 minutes towards the end of the session for an exclusive Q&A, and we'll take up all the questions during that time. Rohini, over to you. I'll share my screen.
I request all participants to please stay tuned in. There's a lot of information that Rohini and Natwar will share on the culture at Fractal, details of the program, and what's in it for you. So please stay tuned in till the end of this webinar. Over to you, Rohini.
Thank you. Neeti, are you bringing up the presentation?
Yeah, it's up.
Okay, I can see it now. I can see it. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Welcome, everyone. And, once again, happy Women's Day. And I hope all the women and men and everyone is celebrating this day today. And what a great day for us to launch our ReBoot program. I want to spend a significant time talking about what you can expect from Fractal in terms of culture. So let me start with a quick introduction to our culture. Neeti, if you can move. Thank you. So the way we like to define our culture is quite simply how we do things, and possibly a better addendum to that is how we do things when nobody is watching. And that's really one of the true tests of culture. Now, we like to believe at Fractal that we're really in the business of people. We have been, over the years, very deliberate in building the culture at Fractal. And it's something that we've thought about very deeply, and something that's been curated and built over a period of time. It's not something that has emerged in just the last 3 or 4 years. It's intentional and it is very unique to Fractal. And the reason I'm starting with that is, of course, all cultures in all organizations, they need very strong anchors and very strong anchorage. And our values, as you can see here, are 4 values. They provide a framework for us, and they really are the source of our distinctiveness, and act as a guiding light for us in everything that we do. All decisions that we take across the organization are guided through these 4 values. And again, coming back to culture, as far as we're concerned, is just a lot more than just giving, employees a bunch of benefits, like, for instance, flex time or period leave or weekly happy hours. A strong culture is built over time. It does not form, sort of very quickly. And it's built on a solid foundation, and the foundation typically is a very strong value system. Which is not just something that is, pinned up on, executive boards or as screensavers of our laptops, but values that are embraced, experienced, and lived by every individual in the organization. So let me talk a little bit about the 4 values that you see here. The first one is client first. One of our core values is that we always do what's best for our client. Now, this is a value that's very deeply seated into the way we work and the way we also measure impact. So, a good example of this is, that we regularly seek feedback from all of our clients, and we use that feedback to guide a lot of our strategy and define the way we work with our clients. And this feedback is the Net Promoter Score. And interestingly, the NPS is actually there in every single Fractalized goal sheet. And it's something that we're a little obsessive about it, in fact. So we're constantly tracking it at the board level, at the Fractal level, leadership level, and down to every single individual today at Fractal will know what our NPS is and the significance of the NPS. The second value here is learn and grow. And as it says, nurture and groom exceptional professionals. So, in a world, and we're all living in this world today where the half-life of knowledge is 2 years and reducing. We've actually very carefully built a very strong learning culture at Fractal. As you can again see here, every Fractalite today invests an average of 90 hours per year in learning. And we believe that Fractalites who are hungry to learn and continually make these investments on a continuous basis, right, are very likely to grow more rapidly in their careers, not just at Fractal, but in general. The third value for a long time was an aspirational value for us, and that's think big and act fast. And this value really speaks to how we can be bold and invest on behalf of our clients, think ahead of time. A great example of this is how we invest in R&D. And culturally, we actually encourage a lot of innovation and we encourage people to take risks. No great leaps have been taken without the gumption to be bold and try sometimes even seemingly impossible things. So how do we, underpinning this is, how do we create an environment of psychological safety where people can actually feel free to think big, take risks, and of course, act with great speed, right? And I have to say the fourth value, which is the value of extending extreme trust and being accountable, is really the one that has laid the foundation for our culture. Now, at the heart of this is giving trust. You have to give trust in order to be able to receive it. So if we are trusting towards others, then we build both confidence in one another and we also establish a great deal of credibility. I'd like to share it's a very simple but powerful example of how we brought something like trust alive and how Fractalites experience this in their everyday, day-to-day. And this is through our leave policy. We actually don't have a leave policy. And we believe that Fractalites should have the freedom to define their own leave plan. So everyone at Fractal, for instance, has the ability and freedom to be able to take as much leave as they need and when they need it. We don't see why people can fall sick for just 6 days in the year. You need only a defined number of days for vacation, and there are only certain credible reasons to take leave. You may, sort of want to take leave because you just want to decompress, and that's fine. As long as there is alignment and with your manager, with your team, and as long as you're accountable towards what you need to do, we don't believe that people need to be policed in this manner, and therefore extending immense trust in all Fractalites. Now, I'll just stay with this whole piece of values just a little while longer. Like I said, we've also a big challenge for most organizations, and something we faced as well many years back, is how do you convert sort of sometimes seemingly esoteric concepts like values into a real day-to-day lived experience for people, and how do you embed them and bring them alive and go beyond just a declaration of intent. So what we did a few years back actually is we also codified our culture, and it's we came out with something that we call people principles. These are a set of 7 principles which actually guide us, and they enable us to take a lot of decisions. So every time we're looking to implement a new process, or we're looking to create a policy change, we often look back at our people principles and our values, and they sort of work as a checkpoint for us. And often choices when we're implementing values are not typically between a right and a wrong, but between a right and a right. And therefore, codifying our culture and having all of this as a guiding light has greatly enabled us to make some great choices and shape the culture at Fractal. I will move on to the next one. So basically everything that I've said, and this is a topic on which I think many of us, Natwar included, can speak for hours. So it's no surprise that Fractal has been recognized as a great place to work for 6 years running. We are also recognized as amongst India's top 100 best workplaces for women 2 years in a row. We've recently just learned that we've also, we're a great place to work certified in US, UK, and Ukraine as well. And all of these industry recognitions are a testament to how we continuously invest in building an exceptional place to work for one and all. I will hand over to Natwar to walk you through the ReBoot program and how we structured it and our thoughts around that. Natwar, over to you, please.
Thank you, Rohini. And a very happy Women's Day to all of you. Before I talk about the specifics of the ReBoot program, let me just give you a backstory about it. Last year, a friend of a friend, she contacted me, and she had a career in analytics. She had taken a break for about 7-8 years and wanted to join back. And she was skeptical about it, how she is going to handle the break, etc. So I encouraged her to apply to Fractal. She put together a resume, sent it to me. I sent it to Etsy, our Etsy team, and waited. After about a week, I didn't get a reply, and I contacted back. I said, "What happened? Are we moving forward with her?" And they said, "Sorry, we couldn't find a role for her." And I was surprised. I said, because I had seen a profile and I thought she would be a great addition to Fractal. But be that as it may, I mean, there's a process that we follow, and I said, okay, fine, that's okay. Couple of months later, same thing happened with another friend. She was a technical architect, a very strong technical person. I know that. But she again had to take a break, and she was out of touch with all the technologies. But she thought that she was now ready to return to workforce. And she wanted to apply to Fractal. I again forwarded her profile to the team, and this time I marked it to a chief people officer, not Rohini, but Raj, who was the chief people officer back then. And I said, listen, let's not do anything. Let's just watch. Let's just see how the system plays out. And this time, she moved to the interview stage. Interviews happened. She was not selected, and the reason was that we just could not. She just did not have the right experience. When we introspected, it was clear that while we had the best of the intentions, the system was not designed to handle career breaks, to handle the breaks in the career. And we reflected back and we said that we need to do something differently. And that's the genesis for ReBoot. We also realized that this is not a women-specific problem, and that's why this is a gender-agnostic, what we call as a returnship program. It involves a 4-week internship for the selected candidates. It's a paid internship, which is followed by a 2-way feedback process and a performance evaluation, which eventually leads to a full-time role. We right now are offering 2 roles, an assurance services manager, which is in the area of quality and testing, and a technical project manager. So these are the 2 roles that we are starting with. The criteria is very simple. All that you need to have is at least 3 years of work experience, a continuous work experience, followed by a minimum break of 1 year. So nothing too stringent. The current locations where we are offering this program is Mumbai, Bengaluru, and Gurugram. We do recognize that there is a need for greater flexibility, but given that this is the first batch, this is the first session, we wanted to make sure that in all 3 locations we have our offices, and we wanted to make sure that we do this well. So that's why the current locations are restricted to Mumbai, Bangalore, and Gurugram. If we move on to the next slide, please. Okay, so here's how the selection process is. So first of all, I want to tell you that we fully understand the limitations or the unique situations which many of you find yourself into after having taken a break. So the idea is to keep it simple, where there is an aptitude test followed by a technical round. Now this is really to check for technical orientation more than anything else, followed by an HC round. So And what we are really looking for is this three key qualities, which is humble, which is important. Humility, we think, automatically leads to learnability. Hunger, again, to be able to learn quickly and have a drive to perform. And smarts. And by smarts, what we really mean is emotional smartness, our ability, your ability to connect with people, empathize with others. Those are the three qualities that we are looking for. As I mentioned, this is a 16-week program, which starts with an onboarding session. This will be a virtual onboarding session, but if things open up, that can change. We would have a series of leadership orientation session so that you can get exposed and hear directly from the leaders at Fractal. And then there would be structured learning and training programs. This would be a combination of technical skills and soft skills and professional development program. That would be followed by live projects. You would start with a shadow engagement where you would be part of certain project teams, and then doing something completely on your own. All this program would terminate with a 360-degree feedback, a two-way feedback for us to understand how we did and how your experience is, and for you to understand, how you performed. And at that stage, there would be a formal performance assessment leading to a full-time role. During this program, there is an extensive support which is being planned. Just to appear it starts right at the time of evaluation. So there would be mock aptitude practice tests so that you're not going in blind. You would have a buddy allocated throughout your 4-month journey who can help you and support you in this program. There would be regular one-on-one connects, mentorships, and what we do is regular pulse checks to understand how your experience is across all the touch points. So that's really the program that we have put together. We are very, very excited to launch this and to bring all the right people on board. So look forward for your participation. Ilakshi?
Yes. So Natwar, there is a question, and I'll probably highlight it as well here in the comment section. So Damini Patni has asked that, she works with the corporate investigation firm in Mumbai, and her question is to you, Natwar. Why did you champion this initiative? Did you or someone close to you struggle with this? With this, I think she means, in terms of returning back to the workforce. So if you could take this question.
Yeah, as I mentioned, this came from a personal experience. I'm sure, many of us know people who struggle with this. Extremely bright people who have taken a career break, and somehow the work environment is just not designed to bring them back into the workforce. Personally, and I was joking with Rohini and Ilakshi and Neeti that I would love to go on a break. I would love to take a 3-month break and come back fully rejuvenated at some point in time. And I think we should be able to normalize career breaks. It's okay to take a break because I want to support my parents, or I want to travel, or I want to pick up a hobby. So this is one small step, from Fractal, from our side to normalize career breaks and to help us in this regard. Rohini, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have struggled with the stigma of taking a break. I can tell you from my personal example, unfortunately, I haven't taken a break so far. I so wish I had. And when I was younger, I had a lot of fear of taking a break. And it's because of all the stories that you're told continuously, right? by some of your bosses, by many other women who may have taken a break, were struggling to return. And these stories get so deeply embedded in your mind that I was petrified and I was very fearful of taking a break. And I feel that we need to start normalizing this. It's perfectly okay to take a break. Your career is not going to suffer. In fact, your career may actually prosper with you taking a break, right? You bring a fresh perspective, you bring fresh energy, and we need to definitely, kill this perception that opportunities start to dwindle. Yes, you may require a little extra support if the sort of break has been longer, but as organizations, I feel we have a responsibility to create that ecosystem where people feel safe and I feel supported in making that transition back. So and I am right now, just like Natwar, actively planning my upcoming break.
Rohini, I have a follow-up question. I remember, I think at least amongst the four of us, when we were designing this program, we discussed about how mental health is something that is, is very important, especially in the last 2 years, right? What advice or recommendation would you, give people and, maybe leaders and individuals who are looking to take this break, but there's a lot of stigma around mental health, right? So how, there is a question in terms of what is the advice that you would give people who would probably want to have a discussion with their managers and wanting to look like a reboot, from to take a break from their career because of their own mental health.
Mental health is very, very important, as important. And, it's not something that has, as a society, we don't openly talk about it. Again, there is so much stigma attached to saying, I'm not okay, right? The stigma attached to this. And, people say that, if I could do it, I've also, and, we tend to trivialize it, right? We trivialize it and we say things like, everyone experiences stress. Everyone goes through anxiety at work. It's a given. I handled it. You know what happened to me. I dealt with so many other different kinds of situations, and I had these coping strategies, and we tend to trivialize. And what we, every individual's experience is unique to them because everyone has their own unique individual context that they carry. And everyone has a story. Everyone has, sort of context within which they're operating. So my ability to process the same stimulus, I will process it differently from the way that maybe a Natwar or you, Elakshi, would process it. And I feel if you're looking to, sort of take a break from work, I would say just approach it, sort of head on. I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of. In fact, the more we try and layer it up, and the more we try and find other acceptable reasons to take a break, I don't feel we're doing ourselves enough justice. We need to first talk about this. The first step, right, is to accept it and and have open dialogue around it. So I would advise you to sort of have a straightforward conversation with your manager, explain where you are, and have a detailed conversation about how you're feeling, how you're processing what's going on around you. And taking a break because of mental health is you making an investment in yourself, is you making an investment in your career. And I do believe that is going to pay off in the long run.
Thank you, Rohini. Another great question for you, Natwar. A great initiative, Natwar. Would it be as simple to get back to working as it sounded in the presentation? This is by Sonal Garg.
I hope so. I genuinely hope so. It's a lot of it is about the people around you, and getting back to work could be hard. If people don't understand and appreciate the unique qualities that you are bringing to the table, or the context that you are bringing to the table. And that's why we felt that it's important not to make it like any other exercise of hiring process. We realized that we need to design an internship program where we provide a bridge from point A to point B. There is a lifestyle change. There is the context change. There is apprehension of getting back to the regular rigor of work. There's an anxiety about the skills, whether you have the right skills or not. We do hope that it would be simple with the right training, with the right orientation, and with the right support system and understanding that the teams around you should be able to provide. And that's why we're starting small, right? We're starting with 10 to 15 people, looking to bring them on board, so that we are able to learn and to do justice to it. We want this to be a very smooth experience, of you returning back to work.
Thank you, Natwar. Another question by Supriya is, how many years break is accepted for this initiative?
I'll take that. Unlimited, actually. So we, we're not putting any caps on this one. All that, the one criteria is that we're looking for some level of continuous work experience prior to you going for that break. So we're fine. I mean, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, that's fine.
I do want to add that, but the minimum eligibility is that at least you should have taken one year of career break.
One. Yes.
Minimum one, but there's no cap that we've put. Supriya does have a follow-up question as well. You have 4 months internship program, would like to know more about it. I think Natwar has in detail gone through, what is the selection criteria and what the program looks like. But Natwar, if you could, explain in terms of the support that we are going to give these people, other than, obviously giving them some, trainings in technical domain, what else can they expect as support from you as a program sponsor?
Yeah, sure. Let me explain that in some more detail, and maybe Lakshi or Niti, you might want to add to it. There is one big element of the internship program, which is a structured training program. So this would be a 6 to 8 week training program on all the basic technology skills that you would require for your job. So that's one element of the structured training program. The other element of the structured training program are soft skills and leadership skills that are required. The second element of the internship is working and shadowing the live work, the live projects, and that would last roughly 8 to 10 weeks. So those are the two big elements. But what Lakshi was referring to is at each one of those elements, there would be someone who would buddy up with you to make sure that you are supported at every stage. There would be a mentor assigned to you so that you have technically, if you're stuck, there is someone whom you can work together. We also have a fairly good process of doing regular pulse checks, just to make sure that if how you're feeling, and we have heard stories where after 2 weeks you might realize, no, really, I'm not able to, I'm not ready for it, which is perfectly fine. But we want to hear that and help you discover it early on. So there are a bunch of support systems that we have thought of and put together for this 4-month program. Niti, you want to add anything?
Sure. So I'll just give you a brief overview of what your journey will look like once you are part of the returnship program. So the first week or so will be largely the induction program, where you'll have a chance to meet your manager, you'll have a chance to connect with your buddy. You'll also have several leadership orientation sessions with Natwar, Rohini, and other senior leaders at Fractal. You'll meet your respective HCVPs, so we'll also establish that connect for you. And essentially the first 4 weeks, we'll have a blended learning program. Like I said, that will be spread over 4 weeks. It'll have elements of technical trainings. It'll have elements of professional development, where we'll take you through refreshers on MS Office and other life skills like planning and organization, communication, business communication, and things like that. So the first 4 weeks essentially will be a blended learning program. Month 2 onwards is when we will assign you on projects. We'll assign a mentor to you who will provide guidance on areas such as transitioning back to work and how you navigate our culture at Fractal and things like that. And if needed, at the end of the first 4 weeks, if we feel that there is additional support needed in terms of training, we will make provisions for that as well. So essentially, the second and the third month will largely be spent on working on projects and learning side by side if required. At the end of the 4th month, we'll have a 360-degree feedback. We'll have a formal performance evaluation. We'll gauge how you've done on the program. We'll gauge your willingness to get back to work full time. And basis that, we will then have an opportunity for you to come on board full time with Fractal.
Thank you, Neeti. There's another question. Maybe Rohini, you can take that question. This is by Shalini. Shalini Kanduja asks, she has technical background but no experience in analytics. Can she still apply for this?
Short answer, yes, you can. And we would actually encourage you to do that. I spoke about, our focus on building a learning, an organization that is deeply anchored around learning and growth. Across the board, and even when we hire at Fractal laterally, our traditional talent acquisition channels, we hire from campuses, we hire people laterally. And a few things that we're consistently looking for. One, of course, is culture and congruence around principles like what Natwar spoke about earlier, which is humble, hungry, and smart. And the other big one that we look for and we focus a lot more on versus what you already know is your appetite and your aptitude to learn. Therefore, learnability, right, and your hunger to learn and grow at Fractal for us is far more critical than any skill that you may have acquired in the recent past. Skills we can teach, right? Analytics, domain knowledge, even certain basic skills around coding, they're easily teachable and trainable. So I would really encourage you to apply. Yes.
There's a follow-up question, Rohini, if you could just take this one as well. I'm looking for non-technical, that is a functional role to come back. Shall be keen to know more.
Yes, Indrakshi, thank you for asking. So the pilot program, the way we've currently structured it, is against defined roles and in the technology area and engineering. It's anchored in that space. That said, we want to keep the channel of anyone else who's interested in returning. Who you may not find a fitment in any of the 2 or 3 roles that we're advertising. But, if you're interested to explore Fractal for other roles, I would highly encourage you to apply. I would request Neeti or Ilakshi to share the link. So there is another link, job application route through which you can make that application. And we'll try our level best to see, how we can tailor it for you and many others.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, like Rohini mentioned, so while there are 2 roles that Natwar spoke about in detail, which is the Assurance Services Manager and Technical Project Manager, we'll share the links of those 2 applications in the chat session close to the end of the program. But there is also a link to Returnship with ReBoot, right? And we've catered to individuals who may be looking to join Fractal and pursue their career goals. So even if you're in a non-technical role, please feel free to apply. There are a lot of questions on, I am an analytical professional with 12 years of total experience and 1.5 years gap going on. Am I eligible for this program given in my field? There are many similar questions. So Natwar or Rohini, one of you can just, take one of these questions.
Short answer, yes, absolutely. We would love to explore this program. Again, even if you do not have analytics experience, the rules that we are considering in this particular case, you should be just fine as long as you have a technical aptitude. So would encourage you to apply, explore this.
Right. There's another very important question that I'd like to pick up, which is from someone called Ho. But the question is, what should we expect in technical test in the selection process? As Natwar had highlighted, that right now we understand that people will be resuming after a career break. So there is not going to be a technical test. We want people to have the technical potential and the orientation, but largely the evaluation is going to be an aptitude test. This is then going to be followed by the human capital round, which is largely again going to be on humble, hungry, smart. And your final round is going to be with, of course, the program sponsor, which is Natwar. So that's the selection process. There's not going to be a technical test. There is, in fact, going to be a lot of learning that's going to happen once you join the program. There's another question from Dhara Shah, and maybe Rohini, you can take this one. Going ahead, can one work in a hybrid mode in terms of work from home and from office?
Yes, Dara. So, our view on the future of work, at least the immediate future of work, I don't think anyone has the perfect answer for that. The situation is continuously evolving. Our view is that work is going to continue to be hybrid. Today, I'll tell you, how we're thinking about this is at Fractal. We're not forcing anyone to come back to work. We're encouraging people to sort of establish their own schedules, where some days they work from home and some days they come into offices. Especially in a program like this, I think it'll be very important for you to try and spend some time in office. But we will leave that the structuring of that largely to you and your team and the people that you're working with.
Yeah, I would just like to add that even before pandemic, we in line with our values, we never had in and out times set for our teams. We never used to count the number of hours that they're spending in office. Many people used to have hybrid work even before pandemic.
Thank you, Natwar. Prashant has asked, I hope you will be sharing a link of those who are interested to join Fractal team, right? Yes, of course, Prashant, we will be sharing, the link. So please stay with us till the end of the webinar. There are a lot of great comments that are being shared with us as well, and I'd probably like to show one of them, if not all. Fantastic initiative. So hope that other companies from various domains get motivated to follow suit. It's almost going to the Web3 route of envisioning future of work. This is by Ashim Dash. Thank you so much. This really means a lot, and I hope that we can, create a workplace that's diverse, and provides equal opportunity for all. And that's what we aim to strive. There's another question which says, will you allow people with business entrepreneurship experience to participate? Natwar, would you like to take this question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we would in fact encourage people with entrepreneurship experience to participate. We think entrepreneurship teaches individuals a lot, and 1 year of entrepreneurship is what 2-3 years of corporate experience. So we would love you to we'd love to have you and explore if we can work together.
Right. Thank you, Natwar. And just to add to that, like we mentioned, that while we have open 2 job positions right now, there is going to be another link where people can choose to apply if they're interested to work with Fractal. This is a pilot program that we are doing, and we want to work our best to make the participants of this program successful in their career at Fractal. But we're also we will scale this up as we move further. So please feel free to apply. There's another question by Raj, and her question is there any criteria on numbers of years of experience or any age limit for ReBoot? Rohini, would you want to take that?
Should I take that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, so there is no age limit for reboot, and any criteria, number of years of experience on that part. We're hoping that at the bare minimum, you should have had at least 3 years of continuous work experience prior to going on your break. That is the minimum criteria for application, and there's also no limit on the number of years you may have taken a break for. So it could again go anywhere beyond 1 year, right? So the minimum is 1, but we have not applied any cap on that.
Right. Thank you, Rohini. Another question by Samruddin Neil Chatterjee. This is a very empowering initiative. Thank you. And personally, it's personally great to see that you collectively believe in second chances. Yes, we do. Can you elaborate a bit on the aptitude test and its structure and content? Yes, Samruddin. So there is going to be an aptitude test. It's a metal test. And it's largely on your verbal reasoning, quantitative analysis, etc. There are 4 domains on the basis of which the test will be taken. But I do also want to add that we have been cognizant of the fact that people who may have taken a career break are not used to taking these tests, or may have been absent in terms of applying and taking these tests. So we will be sharing practice tests with the applicants of this program. This should give you a chance to understand what are the guidelines of the aptitude test and practice it before you actually take the actual test.
Just to elaborate on that, Ilakshi, so the test could range from about 60 to 75 minutes. And just to give you a more specific idea of what sections you can expect, it will be quantitative ability, data analysis, reasoning ability, and verbal ability. And like Ilakshi mentioned, we will share a mock test with you a little ahead of your actual test date, so you can orient yourself and know better what to expect during the test.
Thank you, Neeti. There's another question saying, great initiative. How will you enable growth of participants in their journey at Fractal? Any post-sustenance support? Anyone, Natwar or Rohini, would you like to take this one, please?
Yeah, I'll start, and then maybe Natwar can sort of chime in as well. I think a couple of things. Post completion of the internship program, and once you get absorbed into the role, post that you can expect a lot of support from senior mentors, other women, which could be women and men across Fractal. So that's definitely, we're thinking through a very strong mentorship support ecosystem. People that you can go to, lean on, have conversations about. You will also be provided with a buddy. And the buddy would sort of really help you culturally assimilate, right? And there are always so many questions, right? Saying, what happens next? That's something that you may struggle with, and therefore we believe it's very important for you to have that one friend at work, especially when you're coming back after a while. So you'll also be provided with a buddy, someone who you can exchange ideas with, and someone who can really help you. And then, of course, we've also been working very closely with the teams in preparation for this returnship program. And you can expect a lot of support from your manager and the teams that you're going to get integrated in. So please be rest assured, this is not going to be like you're sort of assessed and tested, and then you're thrown into the deep end and it's a sink or swim. Our philosophy around this is that you will need support for a certain point of time, more concentrated support upfront, and then after that, leaner and light touch support over the coming few months. And after a certain point, some of those support system will automatically stay on because of relationships that you will establish. You will also start creating a network within Fractal through which you can derive and generate a lot of support for yourself. And then after that, you sort of pretty much sort of integrate into mainstream, and carve your own path out. Natwar, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, the only thing that I wanted to add is that Rohini, Lakshi, Neeti, they are ensuring that the technical team, the managers, the interviewers, all of us are trained, are coached to really, for this particular program. We all have our own biases, right? And we don't want that to come in the way. So so I do hope that you would experience a lot more empathetic work environment all through during the internship as well as in your first few months, as you kind of settle in.
Thank you, Natwar. There are a lot of questions pouring in, but in the interest of time, I'll probably take two more, one for Natwar and one for Rohini. And Neeti and I have, we'll need 5 minutes to post the required links. Natwar, the question for you specifically here is, Natwar, as a program champion, what are your expectations from applicants of this program?
I honestly, I'll tell you my motive. And while all of this is good, this is something which Fractal truly believes in. But one of the other intention that we have with this program is really encourage diversity in our team. We do believe that um, all of us, a diverse team, is much better performing team than than a non-diverse team. And through this particular program, we hope to get various folks with different kind of orientation to come together. So that's really what I am looking forward to as we build up Fractal Tech team.
Thank you, Natwar. Rohini, I'm sorry, but there'll be two questions for you. One would be by Sasanka Kashyap. Could you please share a tentative timeline on when are you planning to start the interview process and commencement of the program?
Hi, Shashank. We've met before. So we are planning to start the interview process in close to about 4 weeks from now. Based on the number of applications that we get, we will start pooling applications. Applications are going to be open for the next 3 weeks, post which we'll start sharing the mock test links, followed by testing for close to about 1 to 2 weeks is the timeline that we have in mind. So expect anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks from now, you can expect, for the in-person interviews to start. And then post that, we're hoping we can accelerate the process and try and close this by May.
Thank you, Rohini. The last question for you, Rohini, is, I'm sure we've not been able to answer a lot of questions, but we will post a link to the form where you can share your email ID and contact details and your question, and we will respond. Today is International Women's Day. Rohini, can you please share an example of how Fractal has empowered growth of women?
Okay. Let me share a personal example here, right? Very recently, I joined Fractal about 3 years back, and when I joined to lead talent acquisition for the firm. And there was, a chief people officer who was there. And at that point, close to about 2 years later, after I joined, we started having conversations. She started talking about saying how she wanted to expand, right, and do something entirely different. And, in the world that I come from, once you've done, it's sort of pretty narrow. If you're in human capital, you pretty much do that. And you sort of go from one level to another and keep expanding. And for me, I was amazed with how the organization responded to that. And she's moved into, the current role that she is currently in is not entirely directly related to human capital, in some ways related. And it's in a mergers and acquisitions integration role. And the organization actually supported to enable that movement for her, and she's very successful there in that role. And my personal story linked to that is, at that point I wasn't entirely sure that I wanted to take over as chief people officer. I had these niggling doubts in my mind that, am I ready? Am I really the right person for this job? Why don't we go external, and why don't we hire someone who, who's been there, done this for the last 25 years? And, the person would be a plug and play pretty much in my mind. And the way Fractal supported me is they actually made me feel very safe and enabled me to take that decision, which was a very difficult decision for me because I had so much doubt, and supported me to step up, right? And sort of lean into that challenge and really embrace it. I honestly don't think I would have done this in any other organization. And we have multiple examples of women who have been offered different roles, more challenging assignments. And it's not just about an opportunity being presented to you, but the way the organization actually supports you and maybe potentially sometimes for some of us believes in us more than you believe in yourself, right? And encourages you to take on those challenges without that fear of failure. So I hope these two examples bring this alive for you.
Thank you, Rohini. Thank you for those for that personal example and how Fractal gave you the opportunity to grow. I also do want to, before I hand it over to my colleague Neeti, Natwar and Rohini, there are a lot of comments, and unfortunately, I won't be able to take all. But really, thanking you for championing this initiative, for thinking this through, and really, understanding that people probably need to take a career break at different point of time in their lives, and this is not just limited to women, but also all genders, and it could be for various reasons. So thank you so much. Neeti, over to you.
Great. So I hope everyone who's tuned in found value in the session. And once again, I'd like to thank Rohini and Natwar for taking the time out and walking us through the details of the program. And again, Natwar, thank you for championing this initiative for us. We do hope that the success of this program paves the way for many such programs in the future. And speaking of the future, to everyone who's tuned in, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us on this webinar, and even people who will be watching it later on YouTube. We've tried answering as many questions as possible during the webinar. In case there are any other questions, do reach out to Ilakshi or me on LinkedIn, or she's also posted a link where you could route your queries and we'll be happy to answer any of them. And also the links to apply for all the roles are up in the chat window. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you once again for joining in, and have a great evening ahead.
Thanks, Neeti. Once again, I have posted a link to MS Forms where you can post all your queries, and Neeti and I will be happy to respond to each one of you. And I hope many of you are happy with the answers that were discussed in this discussion. And I've also posted the link to the 3 job positions at Fractal. So please feel free to check the link out, apply, help us spread the word if you know someone in your network. And we'll also be reposting it in the caption. So if you're looking at this video post this webinar, in the comment section, you can see these links as well, and you'll be able to access it. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Special thank you, Natwar and Rohini, for your time. And we look forward to championing this initiative together. And Fractal is committed to bringing, people in and creating a great place to work for all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Look forward to seeing you on the other side at Fractal. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Neeti.